Alrighty. Hello everybody, and welcome to another fabulous match of Hollow Knight All Skills, not Ill Skills, All Skills. Today we have a fifth round match between Eduboy25 and WaterWithFlavor. This is a patch 1221 match, and it is one of the final matches of our prelims bracket, so it should be a good race overall. My name is Herm, if you don't remember me from the last commentary I did very recently. But I am this time joined on the mic by my lovely friend Rhino Peter.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm excited for this race. This should be pretty good. Both two runners that I'm both somewhat familiar with, and I'm really excited to get to commentate this race.
Yes, it should be really good. We're expecting a pretty decent race. Water has sort of joked around about the fact that he's lost pretty good PB paces of late. So we could see some good improvement there. And then Edu overall, very solid runner. PB of 53.06 and holds a comm sob in the Desolate Dive segment. So both these runners definitely have stuff going on.
And that's a super interesting thing to note, because I think that's a relatively new comm sob for Edu.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I've just counted the runners down, so we should be seeing them start momentarily. They both gave me the ready. Yeah, this will be fun. So do we know both runners' current PBs, Herm?
To cancel themselves, but now I'm okay. Let me do a little bit of detective work. I know Edu's is 53.06. I believe Waters is somewhere in the realm of 54. But I have this information in a DM with Virgil. So, as we have commentated for Water before. Oh, okay. So his PB is actually 55.42, but he's specifically noted when conversing with me prior to the race that PBs really aren't everything. Water has been on 53 pace 3 separate times. And so I think he's really looking to improve. His SumFS is, from what I've heard, a lot lower than his current PB. So he's sort of just waiting for the run. And in a no reset setting like this one, it could very much be here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of my favorite things about watching races, that anything can happen. You know, you can have whatever PB you have, and you can have whatever times you have, but you got to perform on the race day in the race, and that's what makes these so exciting. Anything could happen.
Yeah, exactly. And as we see the runners heading in through King's Pass, I am currently realizing that in the utter silliness of having 2 races in a row, I don't have a knock-knock joke ready. So
no.
I'm gonna find one, and at some other point at which we reach a door, we will do a knock-knock joke. I promise there will still be knock-knock jokes. I will not fail anybody in my duty to dispense them, but it's just gonna be a little bit late, and I am most sorry for that, folks.
How could you?
Yes. I know it is unfortunate, and this is to everybody in chat, your friendly reminder to send Virgil and I more knock-knock jokes. We are very much running out. And so
yeah, times are tough out here.
More. Yeah, exactly. There's great scarcity of knock-knock jokes, but I'll find if anybody has an idea of an adequate door that would serve as a good point for a knock-knock joke. Let me know. For now, we'll head into always King's Brand. You know,
Abyss, yeah.
We always do that one because we normally have 2 per race. So
let's see if any of the runners. Let's see what kind of RNG the Gruzzer drop decides to give us. Water getting hit once. Edu getting a clean drop.
Nice.
He just made up like 2 seconds there too, so that's nice.
Yeah. Now they'll head into this Aspid Arena. We'll hope they can both get double spike. That's one of those things where, you know, obviously, if you don't get it, it's not an insane time loss, but it's kind of a mental thing. A lot of times, runners will just sort of reset after a missed double spike. It's just annoying to sort of throw the first trick of the run. Yeah, Water getting, as I call it, the single spike with only 1 Aspid.
Double spike. Yeah, and he's ahead now.
Yeah, look at that, about 2 seconds ahead. And that just goes to show that, like, as Rhino will tell you many times as a runner, running is all about micro optimizations and those little things, because I mean, saving 2 seconds at a tiny point may not seem like a big deal at all, but that adds up to such a massive degree.
Oh yeah, and I've made the analogy before, like, imagine if you took your current PB and saved like 0.2 of a second in every single room across the run. Like, just think about how much time that would be. Like, it's
right.
The little tiny optimizations that add up are what really separate like the super top level runners from the good and even great runners.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, if you watch the race between Monsta and Axe yesterday, you could see them just hitting all sorts of things that they've really optimized. But that being said, I mean, there are time saves big and small. There's some fun RNG we'll be seeing throughout the run.
Yeah,
Boss
definitely.
patterns can really bully you in this run. In addition to just all sorts of skips, there are skips galore. And outside of this crossroads split, we'll be seeing a lot of them.
Yeah, and we're coming up to the first RNG boss pattern here. Regardless of what pattern False Knight gives us here, it's not dramatic time loss, but it's non-negligible time loss if he decides to jump really far away from you and doesn't give you a good pattern. But we'll see what the runners get here. Looks like Edu getting decent RNG, Water getting the best RNG you can, which is when False Knight jumps to the left. Yeah.
That will make up some time for Water there, just a little bit, but it's one of those things. It's just nice to have, and it lets you get out of there really quick. Thankfully, in this run, we only fight False Knight for one cycle. We don't care about the city crest or the associated geo. We have our own geo farming methods. So yeah, it seems Water is about a second behind heading into the Ancestral Mound area. Shoutouts to the load normalizer that keeps both of these runners pretty close together so far. They will gradually desync, but it's nice to see. So shoutouts to 56 for that.
Yeah, definitely. And for anyone who I assume by this point most people are fairly knowledgeable with the way Hollow Knight speedrunning works, but if you guys notice, the timer stops in between room loads. As a community, we time this game loadlessly, and that's just to eliminate any advantages that would be gained from having a more powerful computer that loads the game faster. So as such, to make these races easier for viewers to watch, runners are using a load normalizer that attempts its best to normalize how long room loads take, which keeps the race a little bit more synced RTA, so it's a bit more easier to watch.
Yeah, and it's really nice overall. And speaking of nice things, shoutouts to Rixian, our eternal timekeeper, for noting that the runners are 1 second apart. Edu is 1 second in the lead. Vengeful Spirit split.
Rixian deserves a gold, I swear. He is everywhere.
Rixian deserves so much. Honestly, we will have to think as a community what we can do to thank this absolute lad.
Water gets
got
one
first
spit,
right?
Edu got a second spit, so not too much of a time difference there. Yeah. Every spit is like roughly an additional second, slightly less, so it's not the end of the world.
Yes, and it looks like we have a question from chat about Herm and Rhino Feeder. Was one aspect of commentary you find the most stressful? I can personally say that as a non-speedrunner, the most stressful thing for me was initially learning the run, and it still is sometimes, simply because like I used to practice in the shower instead of singing. I would commentate, given situations, and so that's it for me. But yeah, they're 0.09 seconds apart exiting Mount. That's plus.
Yeah, for me, the hardest thing is when both runners are in the middle of doing something interesting and exciting. I mean, I'm only one person. I can't. Even with two of us, we can't talk about both things at the same time. So
it'd be kind of annoying.
Yeah, like I have to pick and choose. Okay, which thing do I want to highlight right now? And it can be difficult. But on that same token, if they're both like in the same area, I can get really hyped talking about the tiny differences that are going on, like if they're in the same boss fight or something. So. Yeah. Either way. Both runners missing.
That was such a roller coaster. So both runners did the off-screen kill that we do in 1-2-2-1 for the Elder Boulder. And Water really cleanly missing that. It was clear that he missed that first fireball skip, but Edu going for a second fireball and just tripping off that ledge. Really
just adding insult to injury there, because normally in that situation you're like, okay, well at least I have the 3 soul, which makes my soul collection a little bit more comfortable going through here, but losing that fireball for nothing, definitely not what Edu wanted to see.
Yeah, and Water choosing to take a heal there, that's a totally fine thing to do as long as he feels comfortable doing the skip with 2 fireballs. Some runners like to feel comfy and have 3, but hopefully they'll both get it. This is probably like it's it's definitely an important skip to get, much more so than the first one. Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
both runners have got it. Because
That
otherwise you
one
have to do a
saved about
rather annoying
10
switch
seconds.
pogo.
Right.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, like, Water choosing the heal there, that kind of signals to me that he might be a little nervous because yeah, he's gonna go back here and get enough soul to do the fireball skip, but there isn't really a ton in green path that can hit us in an unplanned way. So to me, that tells me he might be a little bit nervous here.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, a death in green path is absolutely detrimental, but the truth of the matter is that heading into green path, heading towards the Hornet fight, yeah, Rhino's absolutely right. There's not too much that's going to pose an active danger to your health bar.
Yeah, especially for runners at this level, you know, they're both experienced runners. There's really, I mean, unless... I can't think of a place where you would take damage in a very unplanned way. Maybe to the Moss Knights, I could see.
Yeah, I feel like all skills Moss Knights in certain patterns can really wombo you, but also with experience, a nice double for you there.
Yeah, they both got doubles, I think, yeah.
Oh, that's hype. Yeah, with experience, it's not a huge concern.
Right. Yeah, both runners very, very even here. I think Edu's got like a couple second lead, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And so they're going to be heading into those Moss Knights we just talked about. Edu choosing to head up by VK. I mean, with full soul, I guess that's an option.
I was worried his any percent muscle memory was kicking.
Yeah, I was worried we were going to see a VK kill, and I was like, Edu, please no. But
really nice movement there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get if that Moss Knight spawns on top of you, normally if both Knights are on screen, you can just shoot 3 fireballs and kill them right away. Otherwise, we have to wait a little bit. And Edu did a really good job. If you jump into the Knight's face a little bit and just kind of bother it, it'll actually jump. The AI of the game tells it to jump backwards. And Edu used that really well to manipulate the Moss Knight away from him and get some space to get the Geo Rocks without getting hit. That's a lot more tricky than it looks.
Yeah, really heads up play there. And we're going to see both runners go into Hornet, as Rixian would say, resolving the family troubles. This is a fight where you really want to get that nice damage rotation, bully her into a corner, take advantage of that low stagger value, and just hopefully even get a few doubles in if you can. It's the sort of thing where Hornet can really jump around. Oh, the sync on that kill.
The sync on that kill, yeah.
Seemed like a pretty
with
easy
about
fight from
4 or 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah, 5 looks like. We'll see from Rixian in a moment here.
Yeah, really well done. Edu during that fight unfortunately got the glitch with Hornet, where if you stagger her back into a wall when her back's already at a wall, in future staggers she doesn't move backwards, making it impossible to get doubles. It's very easy to mitigate for runners, but it's definitely annoying.
Yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate things. It's sort of a Team Cherry arrive with spaghetti or TC Chow moment, where just the coding of the game can interfere with our ability to go zoom a little bit. But it's no worry for the runners because Hornet is dead for the first time, and we're heading into the
first time. Yeah, and the Mantis Claw here, a really tricky split on it. There's quite a few difficult skips and just overall general difficult movement in this segment, and it's very early on. It's definitely one of a lot of runners, including mine, favorite early game split, just because it's not boring at all. There's a lot, like I said, a lot of interesting movements, and there's not really a lot of RNG that can mess us up. This is very much a split that we decide our own fate for. Yeah,
this is one of those things. I mean, we're gonna see coming up here the explosion pogo. That is the face that sailed a million setups. There are so many different ways to do e-pogo, from just simple classic e-pogo to low percent e-pogo to wee pogo. There's just many different things.
At this point, our community could probably write a book on all the different e-pogos.
Oh, for sure. I expect a novel release in 2022.
Yeah.
We'll say hi to Cloth. Unfortunately, I don't think either of these runners will have the PC crash that Nate did round 2 that caused him to say hi to Cloth.
That was funny.
But yeah, for now we're just heading down. It's really interesting to have movement with dash, but not with claw, because we can slide down walls without gripping them.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we'll grab this Geo and head into the E-Pogo room. So we'll see what setup both of these runners choose, as well as whether or not they can get it first try.
Edu taking a hit there, very uncommon.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what E-Pogo they all go for. I would imagine like the standard setup, especially in a tournament. Oh, Edu going for Weepogo. Very well
Yeah,
done.
there's Weepogo and get the first try.
Yeah, water misses.
That is a really true thing about speedrunning, is that in the end, it's most important, Fury strats, that you use whatever strat is best for you. Because if you can nail it first try, even if it's not standard, then that's what matters in the end.
Yeah, I had actually practiced Weepogo a bit, and then literally in my last race, when I got there, I was like, I'm not gonna do it. And water, okay, he gets the backup, but I mean, definitely losing time to Edu here, who got the double pogo on his first try, had a really clean section. And this is really this is the first part of the run here where we're seeing a big difference from the runners, letting Edu get quite a bit of a time lead there early on.
Yeah, just to answer the question from chat, the E in E-Pogo is explosion. Oh, I got snailed by chat.
Yeah, he got snailed.
I got snailed. But yeah, I think that Water had a bit of a jinkies moment with that Mantis Pogo, which is most unfortunate, but in the end, this Mantis can really bully you, and hopefully he'll be able to just keep powering on. We're going to be heading into the Shaman Stone split, jokingly dubbed by some to be VS2. And it seems that, according to Rixian, Rixian actually keeping track of time related to the Mantis Pogo. The runners are now 22 seconds apart. 17 seconds is the change in that gap, but 7 of those seconds were to Mantis Pogo.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, Mantis Pogo is definitely, it's one of those things where if this were like, you know, if Water were just going for PB attempts, that would probably just be a reset, but we're in a race setting, and you know, we talked a bit earlier, Herm, about the mentality that goes into racing and how it's honestly a lot different than PB attempts, which is why we see a lot of runners that you know, might have insane PBs and be high on the leaderboards, not necessarily performing the best in tournaments, and vice versa too. It's a very different mentality. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is, a lot of it too in a race setting is mental, because you have to be able to adapt to the fact that you can't just push that reset button when things start going wrong, and things can go really wrong, with deaths having happened at pretty much every point in this run throughout the tournament. And so you just have to be ready, and you're doing those Gruzmother pogos very
real nice. Yeah, that was real nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and
we'll now do the cleanup.
Getting the pogos there kind of prevents what we just saw happen with Water. Really good cleanup from Edu. But yeah, if Gruzmother starts heading upwards, it's very difficult to get a quick kill without pogoing. So really heads up play from Edu. Let's see what kind of cleanup Water gets here. I think he missed it. Yeah, he missed 2.
Missed 2, yeah, that's unfortunate, but definitely could be worse. The Gruzmother cleanup's just one of those things where it can go all sorts of shades of good and bad. But Edu will grab that Shaman Stone and go to take an intentional death as part of our shade skip to the Blue Lake. This is something you see in a lot of main board categories. But yeah, here, after taking this death, Edu's just gonna do a little pogo on the shade. Hopefully doesn't get a fireball. 20% chance of that, which is just super annoying. And we'll just make it to right side.
Getting a fireball is one of the most tilting things here. It's a lot of time loss, and if you're already in your jump and the shade gives you a fireball, there's a chance that you can pogo it but be too far away. So then you have to go you have to kill yourself all over again and set it all up, and that's just crazy time loss. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is missing shade skip. Yep. Speaking of that fireball, there it is from Water, but thankfully is able to recover it. As I was saying, missing shade skip can just be infuriating because you have to sit through killing your character all over again. But thankfully Water, despite the annoyance of that fireball, is able to save it and head into Blue Lake.
Yeah, Water's actually lucky there that he didn't. Oh, that was. Did Edu just get a? You just get a wall cling sword? Whatever. If somebody wants to clip that, they can. But yeah, Water's actually lucky he didn't hit the shade when it fireballed there, because it can be exactly what I just said, where you've committed, you hit the shade, but oops, it's too far away because it stops the fireball, and now you've killed your shade and you don't make the skip. So it's almost better to not hit it.
Unfortunately, this is not one of those cursed meme categories like all stag stations or NMG, NMG being
Yeah.
Nail Master's glory, where you pogo a shade fireball because that is somehow a pogoable object. Yeah, you really just don't want to see it. But thankfully, both runners are on right side. We're sort of going to be grabbing whatever geo we can from the bourgeoisie here, and because we need to get scammed by Nail Master Oro very early in 1-2-2-1 all skills. For 800 geo, the high cost of 800 geo, we can skip through a lot of levers in Soul Sanctum, among other things. And so
It
we need to
really is
get
a
all the
scam.
geo we can. It is such a scam.
It's
Neither of the other
800.
nail masters charge you. They just give you services. I mean, heck, Shio is retired and doesn't even have any interest in teaching nail arts, and he still teaches you his for free. So it is
I know,
clearly
right?
a scam. But we will go beat up the gorgeous Husk, who is not gorgeous, but I'll quote Rixian from the last race and say, well, if I can get 420 geo, I'll call it gorgeous.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I don't know what most people call it, but I hear a lot of people call it things other than gorgeous husk. It's gorgeous husk.
Interesting.
I hear some people call it golden husk. I'm like, nope, it's gorgeous husk.
No, it is technically gorgeous Husk, but I just think Husk because it is empty except for money. And then when you
That's
take
true.
away all its money, it is nothing at all. It has no person.
Wow. I've also heard Gucci husk before.
Ah, gorgeous Husk, a confirmed member of the Gucci gang.
The Gucci. There we go.
Most runners quit out back to that bench they took at King's Station. And they're going to be heading into the Kingdom's Edge to grab that scammy nail art we talked about. Let's see how they're both doing on Geo. Ito at 714, that's just fine.
Yeah.
Water
Buddy.
is at, waiting for that load,
720.
726. That's a lot more comfy. But we're going to be farming some Geo from hoppers here. The first row is pretty chill, but after that we do have to deal with some primal aspids sort of watching us. But the runner should be able to avoid this with practice and skill.
Really good movement here from both. Right, getting under that little bit of water there, and coming out of the bottom of city there. It's a lot trickier than it looks to squeeze a dash in between there without getting caught in the water. I think both runners got it. Yeah, the other thing too is we need 800 geo now, but very soon in the future we're going to need 300 more geo to open up King Station. So that's why you'll see most runners, even once they get 800 geo, they'll just finish killing all the hoppers. Because hoppers are an incredibly efficient way to farm geo. So while we're here farming geo anyway, we may as well get started on the next part of the run where we need geo.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody familiar with the all unbreakable charms run, in which you need 36,000 geo, you spend about an hour farming hoppers in this exact room just because of how efficient it is. So it's really convenient, and we're able to get through them with our fireball. And so yeah, you'll see both of them have slightly over 800 geo, which is just about where you want to be.
Yeah, a little lower than I would like. I would like to be a little closer to 820, 830 here, but I mean you're fine here. You can, you know, there's places on the way to Sanctum and out of Sanctum we can farm more geo, so it's not the end of the world, but it's a little less comfortable than I would like to be here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially on Nidu's side with only 5 geo. At this point, I mean, we're going to get a pretty significant amount from killing the Soul Warrior and from killing the Soul Twister into Sanctum if you choose to pick up that juice. So it's like, it's going to happen, but also Rhino's absolutely right. It's just sort of, it's a little bit more comfortable to exit Kingdom's Edge with closer to 20-30 geo.
Yeah, definitely. And then fortunately though, after King Station, that's kind of the end of like the planned geo routing for the rest of the geo just comes very easily and naturally.
Yeah, we'll be picking up 655 geo-ish from the Water Knight's chest, and that's basically going to sate us for the rest of the run after we're done with King Station Stag. And so, yeah, this category is kind of funny in that in the first portion of the run, geo farming is very tight, very managed. It's really important that you're keeping track of how much you have, and then after that, it's just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, which was such an interesting contrast for me because, you know, coming from any percent, you pretty much, like, geo is tight all the way to the end, which is a good thing, right? Like, it's a sign of optimized routing, but definitely something we have to think about. Both runners get Inspire Skip pretty cleanly, too. Let's see how they do in the dark room. Edu threw it real quick. Water
Having a bit of an issue, but is able to get out. Yeah, that hit, that little flash of light is Water using his nail to sort of figure out where he is in that room because it hasn't loaded in. but is thankfully able to find his way. And to answer the question from chat, like what part of the run do you see the most variance or most scope for error in? I think it really depends on what a runner's strengths and weaknesses are. Like going into the split, for example, the Desolate Dive split, which will happen after we pick up our Shade Soul. Edu has Calm Sub in that, but also Soul Sanctum is super RNG heavy. So even though Edu is very, very skilled at it, it can also just bully you. There's a lot of opportunity for the game to bully you. There's a lot of opportunity for you to bully yourself. Like if you're just unable to get certain skips, or you just really struggle with a boss fight, such as Hornet 2, there's a lot of room for variance.
I would say, just as a general rule of thumb, Water choosing not to get that Geo, though, that was very
interesting. Oh, well, that's a questionable choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. That's questionable. But anyway, what I was going to say, as a general rule of thumb, I think segments that are more movement heavy have less variance, and any segment with a boss fight, just by the nature of the boss fight, yeah, just there's RNG and the pattern that we get from bosses that we have no control over. I mean, it depends on the boss fight too. Like, but even a fight like Watcher Knight, right, which is a very, very quick fight in this category, all it takes is one of the knights to decide that, hey, I'm going to roll all the way across the room from you, and just like that, there goes like 6 seconds. You know, it's
I found yesterday a diagram in which Homophony mapped out all of the THK patterns, and it is so variant that it's essentially a brand new fight every time. Yeah. It is that different, and so these runners really do have to think on their feet. And I mean, thankfully, for example, as you can see, they just picked up Shade Soul. That's our upgraded Vengeful Spirit. You're gonna watch from Edu and Water here momentarily. It allows us to do a whole bunch of damage, especially with double hits. A double hit Shade Soul does 80 damage. Which is pretty bonkers. But Edu really taking a lot of damage. Probably it's not great going into Sanctum.
So you can see, he really, I could tell by the way he was doing that fight, he really did not want to shoot that fireball. He really wanted to finish off with the nail and do a heal. Because you can just, I mean, he could die here, right? Like, yeah, there's one hit, pure RNG.
There's one hit. Yeah, those things can teleport directly into your face. You have no choice about it. It's really not in your control, but Edu makes it out alive.
No, he's not dashing either. Like a lot of places that we normally would dash there, he walked, which is the smart choice here.
Right.
Yeah, gonna heal up. Definitely the smart move.
Because the last thing you want is to be in the middle of that quick directional motion, and then boom, a teleported Soul Twister, and that's the end. That's the end of your lead. Which, by the way, according to Rixian's timestamps, they're 24 seconds apart. The gap only widened by 1 second there, though. So, I mean, it's still not the most. That was not the most close.
That was a questionable decision from Edu.
That was interesting.
So I know why he did it. Yeah, he shot the fireball because he wanted to break the jars off screen, but. I mean, if he knew he was going to do that, I would have just broken them all with my nail as I came into the fight. But,
yeah, I absolutely agree, because in my opinion, wasting soul to get soul, not the best choice when you can just get soul for free.
Water had a really good first segment though here.
Yeah, that was an awesome first phase Soul Master. Now we'll go into the fake out phase, which these runners very much know it is coming, unlike the average casual player. But yeah, this is a phase where Soul Master only has 100 hit points, so it's really no big deal. We're just gonna hit him with the nail to get soul, and then once he starts shooting soul orbs at us,
really nice from water.
Yeah, that was an awesome Soul Master fight.
Edu getting bullied here. Oh my.
Yeah, holy cow.
Jeez. Okay. So Water probably made up quite a bit of time there. He had a really clean segment, and Edu got bullied by RNG and all sorts of other stuff, but. Yeah, and now he's going to have to leave Sanctum. I mean, he's going to have to either take another 5 seconds and heal here, or try and risk leaving Sanctum with 1 HP.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think that if you're Edu, in order to keep this, I mean, you, in the end, even if you've lost a ton of time, you certainly just want to keep at it. I think you just have to take a heal here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is what we see him do. It's just too much of a risk with the way Soul Sanctum goes.
No, in a PB attempt, I would probably just 1 HP, and if I die, then oh well, I die. But in a race, there's no way I leave there with 1 HP.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you have enough soul to do these dives here. And Soul Sanctum is a soul-rich area, so it's not exactly too much of a worry getting that back. But according to Rixian, yeah, it seems Water made up 11 seconds in that split, so they're now only 13 seconds apart. So yeah, that just shows really clean play by Water and just some real issues, some RNG bullying for Edu, as well as a tough fight against that Soul Warrior,
Yeah.
swinging things around.
And another thing I'm noticing now, Herm, too, is if you look at the Geo, Edu's really low on Geo leaving here.
Oh yeah,
Like
which is funny because they were.
Sorry, Water.
Elevators. Elevators are our #1 enemy in the game. Let's be honest.
Yeah. #1 enemy. But yeah, Edu's gonna have to, he's gonna have to go out of it. That is enough of a Geo loss where he's gonna have to slightly go out of his way to make that up.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really interesting because I do remember that entering the Sanctum split, there were only 1 Geo apart because Water specifically chose to not grab that Geo from the Soul Twister. And so yeah, it's interesting that Water was able to just grab 30 extra Geo heading out, and it'll make this farming a whole lot easier.
I didn't see where he got the 30 extra Geo.
Yeah, chat, if any of you are aware of where that Geo farming happened, definitely let us know because I'm interested. I didn't catch it myself.
Did he kill a Soul Twister maybe? Because that's actually fairly common.
25, so...
Oh, 25. Yeah, that could be about it then, yeah.
From mistakes, because Edu was kind of running away from all the mistakes. He may have farmed a mistake or 2 for Soul, and then that would get him. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, because I know even for me, if the Soul Twister teleports in front of me sometimes, I just fireball him immediately because I don't want to deal with him attacking me or being in my way. And
yeah, absolutely.
The quotes time loss is fairly easily justified by the extra Geo we need anyway. So, if I had to guess, that's probably what happened with Water.
Yeah, and you can see the contrast here at this fire bench. Water's got 283 and will decide to get this Cowardly Husk, it seems. Yeah, it needs to get sold for the dive floor. 283 to 255, that is a big difference because Water can just sort of run right over here, grab Geo from these husks, and boom, 302. That's all you need for King Station, whereas Edu has to do a lot more cleanup work.
Yeah, and for what it's worth too, I gotta be, if I were Water, I may have just not broken the floor and gone down the right elevator shaft there. Because at that point, he didn't need a lot of Geo, and those 2 husks that we just saw him hop over, you can kill those for, he didn't need enough Geo, but...
Yeah, I mean, it also depends as to whether or not he brought the elevator down, because I know in the last race, I believe Jeff had so much Geo, he had a crazy amount of Geo at King Station, and just was able to take the elevator down because he forgot to bring it down going up to Spire. So that was convenient, but if you have to wait for the elevator, obviously better to just break that floor. But yeah,
absolutely.
both we'll get the stag. And we're stagging Dirtmouth here. We don't get Crossroads Stag in 1221. So we're going to be heading to Dirtmouth, heading past our lovely friend Mila, who deserves life in all circumstances, and into Crystal Peak.
Yeah. So Rixian getting us about a 16-second difference. Yes, I mean, this is such a close race. Like, this is 16 seconds is not at all. I mean, it's barely worth mentioning as a major difference, honestly, at this point in the run.
Especially with, there's so much. I mean, the thing is, like, truly the best is yet to come.
Oh yeah, we're not even halfway through this race.
Going into Crystal Peaks. And that's the thing, is that this peak split is one that I find, I mean, Edu specifically mentioned to me that he tends to struggle in peaks, so we can see. But it's one that I find that consistency is so key, because pretty much all of the rooms in peaks are cycled in some form. And it's all about just staying on cycle, because if you get knocked off cycle, you end up waiting, which is a speedrunner's least favorite action. And it's just frustrating. You don't want to wait around for lasers or different things to happen. You want to do this on your own dime. And so, yeah, hopefully both runners can get through.
Well, and on that note, too, one interesting thing is, a lot of people coming from any percent, if there are lasers in our way, we just damage tank them and go through, because in any percent, after we pick up Crystal Heart, it's a save and quit out anyway. So we don't care about our health at all. But here, I mean, after we pick up Crystal Heart, there's a dark room we have to go to. The Crusher cycles, the Crystallized Mount, a lot of things can go wrong. So health management becomes a much more serious concern in a split like All Skills.
Yeah, this is pretty much the #1 split for health management, because first of all, if you want to go for that damage tank cycle on Crystal Heart, which takes about 4 seconds, you need to tank damage. Obviously, it's in the name. But also, the really important one is the D-Dark early control. So when we get into Crystallized Mound, everybody is going to want to tank damage to get early control out of Descending Dark using our dash slash, which saves about 15 seconds. So it's really annoying if you can't do that. And it's just hard to get soul in peaks, because most enemies are covered in some sort of shell that prevents you from hitting them easily.
Side note, neither runner went for Pogax, and I am very disappointed.
Unfortunate.
Unbelievable. Unreal.
Unreal. Just removed from reality. No pun.
Yeah. And Edu, he looked... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, the funny thing, I don't think a lot of people know this about God Cycle and God Pixel, but it is RNG. Like, the enemies will start their, quote, laser cycle when you get close enough, but there's still like a 1 to 2 second variance in when they actually start shooting their lasers. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people knew that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a common misconception because everybody's like, oh, it's God cycle. Like if you're a god and you're really, really good at it, then you must always get it. But
now, to be clear, you do have to be very fast, but there is an RNG element for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think a lot of people know that it's not 100% on your own movement there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's very interesting. But we'll see both runners going to Crystal Heart. First of all, thank you to chat. All of you are exceedingly cute. I most appreciate all the compliments. But yeah, heading into Crystal Heart, we use that dash slash as an air stall. And we'll see what cycle.
Tank.
Yeah, damage tank cycle. So this is.
Ooh, no, that's not good.
Already off cycle. That is no good. That is the last thing you want to see because in the end, even if you mess up on the damageless cycle, which you can easily get womboed, going for underplat on 2 mass, you respect it. Gets the soul. Wise choice. Probably will take a heal here, but
this is how you know Water's a man of the people. Okay, if he was gonna go for the soul totem, it's objectively faster to not do
to go over plat. Yeah,
he wanted to give it to the crowd. He knew that we needed this in this time of need. He gave us the under.
It was very important. I can tell you from experience as well. In the last race I commentated for Water, he went for underplat on 1 mass. It was impressive. It was what the audience needed to see. This man is a true lad. And you love to see it.
Absolutely.
Looks like they're about 23 seconds apart at Crystal Heart. Edu did widen that gap by 7 seconds. So it seems that despite his proclaimed struggles with the area, Edu's having a pretty good peak so far. We're gonna have to see how this D-Dark split goes. Got Water accidentally dashing in there. This is another very cycled room.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, he got a little off cycle there, but he made up for it. I'm curious to see if either runner goes for the cool backwards wall cling storage here.
Yeah,
and Edu went for it and hit the wall, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
But I appreciate the effort.
Exactly, and both runners saving the grub, which you really do love to see. They're going to be heading into this dark room now. Dark rooms are sort of a unique aspect of, unfortunate UTD. There will reset the room.
I was just going to say, too, Edu's going to make up some time here going for the optimal strat, but, well...
Yeah,
you can't blame me for the comms curse. I never even said it.
Yep, it was thought police is going to be on you for your thought crimes. But yeah, Water doing the C-dash dark room, which is significantly slower, but also in generally a lot safer.
Much safer, yeah.
But yeah, we have to do these dark rooms because we don't buy Lantern in this category. It is a huge save of Geo, and one of the main reasons why we don't have to worry as much about Geo routing later. And that's because we're also picking up Dive to go into peaks, so we don't need Lantern to get there. But yeah, it is... We'll see in Dark Deep Nest things get even more serious. But thankfully, Edu able to make it through. Hopefully doesn't take any more damage here that would prevent him from doing the early control.
Neither runner went for the swag crystal pogo that saves like 2 to 3 seconds, but understandable. It's fairly
especially
risky.
For Edu on 2 masks.
Yeah,
but all good. Able to get that early control. 1 mask is all you need because after this we're flying straight into the dream cutscene where health is no matter, and after that we're quitting out.
Yeah, like you literally can't get, like, if you were just like angry at the game and wanted to die and reset, like there's actually no place you can take damage here. Like you really cannot.
Like, you could try, but you would not succeed. Even if you're like, I want to do a shade skip, that's actually a big problem in the randomizer community is people want to shade skip places, but they just can't feasibly die.
Hang on, I'm really worried that Water just interacted with the statue on the same frame he landed. Please don't soft lock.
No.
Okay, oh god,
Okay,
we're good.
Yeah, that soft lock can be infuriating.
God, that would have this. Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, I had a mini heart attack because I've had that happen to me. I've seen it happen to others. That was my heart stopped in my chest for a second.
Moment with that soft lock. So yeah, you do hate to see it, but Water having enough to do that dive, and we'll head into the dream platforming, thankfully soft lock free. We get to
Yeah.
speed dive through most of this, which is nice, as well as do a second underplat.
Yeah, that's right. Underplat too. We'll see if water goes for it here.
Yeah.
I never know whose audio to use in times like this because like RTA water's ahead, but in game time, you like technically for the race, Edu is ahead. So I'm just gonna stick with water as.
Yeah, I would just say stick with water because in the end, nobody wants to hear the exact same sounds twice, and so
Right.
and since it's close enough, it's not like wow, like Edu's so
Yeah.
definitively ahead. You know,
Exactly.
still about 30 seconds apart. So.
Yeah, and important to note that nothing massive in the change of paces here, but Edu did eke out a couple seconds over water during that segment.
Yeah.
So now heading
Really
over to
good
Watcher
for
Night.
him all around, despite him saying it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
real struggle segment for him.
Yeah, it's got to be. He's probably letting out a deep exhale now, knowing that
Yeah.
section's over. He made it through without dying. It's all good.
Exactly. And so we're going to be heading into Watcher Knights. This fight in all skills has significantly more damage than the ones in any percent and low percent, as I'm sure Rhino can attest to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know any top any percent runners that haven't spent countless hours practicing this fight in any percent because it's just that important. Whereas in all skills, like the the fight's almost more of like an afterthought. I mean, there's very consistent ways to kill the Watcher Knights incredibly quickly. We're just gonna spam that beautiful spell we just picked up, Descending Dark. It's just gonna be spam, spam, spam.
Yeah, these folks will die in 2 3/4 Descending Darks. The only time where this can really get out of hand is where you're sort of dancing around with those invincibility frames and you end up getting into some damage tanks because to kill them optimally sometimes means dancing with death a little bit, but Water's getting good RNG.
Ooh.
Nope, never mind.
Not anymore, yeah. That's what we were talking about earlier, is that the Knights can just decide to roll.
Now the RNG is terrible. I've cursed it so much. Wow, that was funny.
Yeah, geez. So definitely.
Yeah, jinkies.
Giving Edu a chance to make up some time. Well, to gain more time here on Water.
Yeah, extend that lead.
Yeah, definitely not the fight Water would have wanted there, but
no,
he makes it through
really
fine.
Unfortunate. That's the thing, is that Watcher Knights, as we've remarked on, can just really get out of hand. They can get ugly in a lot of different ways.
Edu!
Or you can just,
As
the number of times I've seen runners, even very experienced runners, finish this fight on one mask is very high, simply because in order to get optimally, you need to get right up in the Watcher's face. You need to make sure that your Dark is dealing all 88 damage, and like, you don't want to miss. So,
yeah, it's super important here. You know, again, we're speedrunners, time save over everything. So damage tanking is gonna be a part of the strategy sometimes.
But thankfully, that one mask is not a huge concern. Dreamer cutscenes are a health refresh, as you can just see on Water's screen. So we're gonna go beat up Lurian, who I always found to be kind of the weakest Dreamer. A little weird that he just sort of watches everyone all the time and doesn't.
Yeah, he just got like a telescope sitting up in the tower, staring at people. Weirdo.
Yeah, a little bit odd. So we're gonna get rid of him. And then we're gonna go do some really difficult skips.
Yeah. Yeah, if this would probably be the next big place in the run that we could see like a major shift in the lead or time law. I mean, I would expect both of these runners to have a fairly clean set of Isma skips here, but anything could happen. I mean, I've seen super high level. I mean, we saw Monsta yesterday mess up Spike Pogo. I mean, anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like different runners have different strengths, and the spike tunnel is one of those things. It's funny, most of the time people will dunk on Current Patch for not having lever skips, for not being able to do a lot of the tricks that you can do in 1-2-2-1, but one thing that is easier on Current Patch is the spike tunnel, because the spike tunnel is very precise on 1-2-2-1, and with a lot of practice you can get it consistently, but it's a struggle no matter what.
Oh, looks like we just got a raid too from SpeedGaming 4, so welcome to anyone coming in. This is a Hollow Knight race. We're about halfway through. 2 very good runners here, heading into some very difficult skips. Should be a good time.
Absolutely. And so yeah, Water having already broken that floor because he didn't take the elevator down. It'll be the same for Edu. So that is convenience. We had to ask Jeff in his interview last run, like, did you know you needed to break the floor the second time? because it's very common to break it. But yeah, we're going to be heading down, fall through this room, but we're not going to basin just yet. We're going to stop at this spike tunnel. And the reason we do this is because it lets us skip a whole bunch. Oh, very good spike tunnel from
very
there.
clean.
Got it right. Cling onto the wall. Didn't even have to step down or anything. Just optimal stuff right there.
And that really puts the pressure on Edu now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
and there
already.
He takes a hit.
And that's an extra annoying hit, especially because Water getting the second acid skip first try, the first acid skip. What am I talking about? Second skip first try. We'll go for this second acid skip as Edu gets the spike tunnel after that dunk, but really well. I was gonna say really clean Ismas. Unfortunately, did fall there, but that's really not a scary fall to take in the least, simply because we already have. Yeah.
That probably didn't really lose Water that much time, honestly, because of the
no, really.
Yeah, that was probably like the most fortunate place you could take damage, honestly.
Yeah, I was unfortunate that it happened, but fortunate in the way that it occurred.
Is Edu gonna try and do it?
Control for Edu. Is Edu gonna try to get the UI?
Now let's go.
Let's go. This is a very fun glitch that Rhino likes to display in his races. If you get out of Ismas with early control before the pop-up disappears, you'll have a green trail following you until you next save and quit, I believe. And so it's really cool looking.
Water gets the perfect Rava RNG there, able to C-dash all the way across. Let's see if
Edu very
is
nice.
Lucky.
And it looks like they're still about 30 seconds apart. 33 seconds apart, Water making up 1 second during that time, because in the end, Water skips were good, really good, but Edu also had a very solid set of skips as well. So
yeah, I had a little trouble there in the spike pogo, but it didn't seem to make too much of a difference here.
Yeah, I mean, once Edu got to the actual spike tunnel, he got it first try. So I think it's probably that unfortunate dunk is probably equivalent to Water's dunk after the second acid skip, to a degree. But they'll both be buying this toll bench. We're going to be quitting out there after we finish fighting the broken vessel. They'll run away from it because in-game timer manipulation. And yeah, we're going to be heading into the little Malark spit section as we hike over to BV.
Yeah, and this section is very interesting because it looks very it looks like runners just get very lucky dodging a lot of the infection bubbles that the Malarks are shooting. But there's a very consistent and specific way you can move through this room to more or less guarantee that you don't get any more than 1 or 2 hits. I'm interested to see Water here. So this C-dash, there's 2 ways runners go through this. Okay, and I like that approach in a tournament setting.
Yeah, I like
the
that
optimal
too.
way there is actually to intentionally take damage, like if you're just purely going for speed, but totally respect in a tournament. Yeah, in a tournament setting, I totally respect just playing it safe there and not taking damage.
Yeah, and that was a pretty solid Malark trip there, simply because yeah, BV is another one of those bosses where like it only has 525 hit points. It's not one of those things that's going to like really get you. But also if you start running out of soul during the headbang, all those things, yeah, nice basic skip from you there. We've seen a lot of deaths from runners to Broken Vessel, unfortunately, just because of how things can get out of hand.
I think a lot of runners almost take it for granted that like, oh, you know, it's Broken Vessel, it's an easy boss fight. But if you're not careful, I have totally died to Broken Vessel in runs before. I mean, just
yeah. And like that headbang attack, it's great. It's super great for loading and damage. But if you're out of soul, and you just have to sort of pogo up there, yeah, exactly like you can see here. But yeah, it gets out of it just fine. Way to stick with it, Edu, and just be able to keep it together. You know, that's the thing is like, I almost feel like Team Cherry knew that the psychological effect of the barrier around your character being on one mask, like that has such a profound effect, and you just need to be able to get used to it. You know, you need to be able to be like, okay.
It's funny you say that too, because like I know I'm not the only runner that does this, but sometimes I'll purposely train, like in practice mode, doing boss fights at 1 HP, just so that like if it happens in a run, I'm not at all nervous or I just don't care. Because one thing that I see a lot of times, and I'm going to say straight up, I think this is a mistake. If you're on 1 HP in a boss fight, keep playing the same way you normally would. Like, don't try and run off to the side and heal, because 9 times out of 10, you're just gonna get hit trying to heal, and all that does, you're thrown off your rhythm now. You just wasted 3 hits of soul trying to heal, and you got hit anyway. So, like,
right, exactly.
Obviously, easier said than done.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of akin to what you and I talked about prior to this race, Rhino, in that, like, when you're a veteran runner, when you've experienced, when you've practiced for so long, you know every little way that you can mess up. You know what happens when you end up on one mask. Like, you're just prepared. You have that adaptability. You have that sort of like fluid intelligence. And like that really allows you to adapt. But absolutely, I mean, like, that's the thing, is sometimes safety strats are great. Sometimes they're very helpful, especially in a race setting. But sometimes they can end up just like contributing to you not doing what you could already do well if you're sort of psyched out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, one thing a lot of people that ask me for help with boss fights and the game in general is, I often say the safest way to play 99% of the bosses in this game is hyper aggressive. Like, be very aggressive, be close to them, and you're actually safer that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I think of the number of times that casually I died to bosses, not because that I couldn't beat them, not because I didn't understand how to hit them, but because
Water's
midway
low.
through the fight I ran away. Yeah, water gets it. But yeah, speaking of bosses, we're gonna be coming up on Hornet 2. That's right, she's back. She's better than ever, and by better than ever, we mean she's now the most difficult fight in this run.
Absolutely,
she's learned some new tricks. She saw our dash and said, "Watch me," and now learns to parry our spells, which is infuriating, and also puts up some barbs, which casually are a nightmare, but really are not the biggest deal for us in this fight, because our spells get rid of them so quickly. But yeah, both of these runners gonna go for it. They're probably, I mean, Water didn't take the safety bench. I don't think
I would be shocked
either, especially given the fact that this race is still somewhat close, within 40 seconds. And so, yeah, we're just going to see how this fight goes. A death to Hornet 2 can be rather detrimental when a race is this close. But also, Hornet 2 can just take a really long time. That RNG can bully the heck out of you.
Yeah, it's Hornet is definitely, I mean, I just said that playing bosses aggressive is the safest way to play them, and I think Hornet 2 is no exception, but Hornet's movement can be a bit erratic and random here. You know, she can do some empty hops on us, some like walk directions you might not expect, so it's important to stay close, but be very conscious of your spacing here.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's the age-old Hollow Knight joke of the hardest attack is the boss walking or jumping into you. And Hornet is really exemplary of that, if we're being honest. And Water is on one match. Yeah, getting those parries too. We'll see. I mean, this is an excellent example. Choosing to heal during that stagger.
I don't blame him.
A wise choice. And yeah, look, finishes her off. In the end, that's what you want. It is much better to be able to heal and be safe than to completely mess it up and be stuck back in basin heading all the way over. And so
absolutely, yeah. During a stagger is like the one exception to the rule I said earlier. Like, that's like the one time it's okay to heal is during a stagger.
Right, but like, for example, during the Watcher Knights fight, if you're healing in a corner, you're just gonna get bounced into, and then I'm on one mask again, and I don't even have the soul to D-Dark out of this. Like, the thing, especially when we have a spell that actively gives us invincibility frames. But yeah, Water is doing the early control out of King's Ren, as does Edu. So they're going to be heading back, and this is sort of like the downtime, sort of chill segment in the run. It appears the runners are about 51 seconds apart, according to Rixie, and about 10 seconds widening that gap. So Edu is continuing to pull a lead, but even still, with Umu coming up.
To answer Gidge's question real quick in chat, we have purposely chosen to use Water's audio because he's ahead of RTA, and we just thought that would make more sense for viewers, but that was the reasoning for that.
If there's like a strong push for folks to have Edu's audio, like, we can switch. It's not hard at all. But that was just our thinking. Yeah, but we're heading to Cyclone Slash. It's very chill. I was joking with Hixian earlier, like, if I run Hollow Knight all skills, I'll do Cyclone Slash ILs, and Rixian can do the rest of the run. I'll just do the C dash.
Water's at 1 HP.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Water has the UI glitch that sort of eliminates your health and soul gauge. But yeah, Water's at 1 HP, you can tell by that border, but thankfully we're just going to be stagging to Dirtmouth and benching there because we quit back to Dirtmouth after grabbing
Yeah, it's a
the
forced bench.
Cyclone Slash.
Jeez.
So
God, I got scared there. Oof.
yeah, those Bellflies are no joke.
Yeah, that
Fun
spawns you
fact
back in
about
Hornet too.
Yeah, exactly. Fun fact about Bellflies that I learned last night from Cthulhu is that one Bellfly, if you use Spore Shroom, Bellflies can hit you through the floor. It is terrifying.
Jeez.
And so yeah, but thankfully these Bellflies are just sort of running at us and we're at full health now. As Virgil would say, KP, people please arrive. We request
Please arrive.
people arrive here. We're just heading back through the tutorial area over to Howling Cliffs.
Yeah, it's like you said. This is a very most runners. This is a very welcome downtime after doing Hornet 2 and all that intense movements. And the hardest boss fight in the run. This is a nice little section where we can kind of just not really too much difficult movement here. It's a lot of walking and jumping. So definitely a nice time for runners to kind of collect their thoughts, catch their breath.
Yeah,
Edu having a little bit of trouble with the climb, but nothing too concerning.
Yeah, I do appreciate, just as you said, jumping, that Edu failed to jump up high enough. That was some good synchronicity with the commentating. But yeah, we're just gonna sort of say hi to Mato. An excellent example of how a nail master should be, in that he gives us his nail art for free, and is nice and is appreciative of us instead of being like Oro, who's all angry and such. I mean, Mato and Oro are canonically in a fight, right? But Mato still knows kindness, and Oro only knows the greed that embodies his trainer Sly's spirits.
Yeah, he teaches us the nail art just for the love of the art, just
yeah,
for the love
exactly.
of spreading his knowledge.
And so now we're going to be heading back to Dirtmouth, and we're going to go down the well and go towards our favorite orange jellyfish, Umu. This can be a rather painful segment of the run, depending on how things go, simply because Umu can decide that you get an extra attack, or you can just sort of fail to get the one cycle with the setup of your choosing, and that can be a really annoying time loss on the order of 18 to 19 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't know if, I mean, I would assume Edu does. I don't know if Water goes for the standard out of bounds one cycle.
Yeah. I am not sure. I've commentated so many races, it's hard to keep track. But I would guess, based on my recollection, yeah, people in chat saying Water does. Thank you so much. So both these folks will do the standard pushing Umu out of bounds Shade Soul one cycle. We have sort of recently seen the rise of Volley's adaptation of Underline's one cycle involving Descending Dark, but that's sort of a trendy new Zoomer strat. So
yeah, I think it's a little bit less consistent. I think that the benefit it has is that it's much easier for especially newer runners to understand, because you can physically see Umu throughout the entire time. Whereas, I mean, even I know myself, when I was trying to learn the out of bounds one cycle, it was incredibly infuriating to be like, well, I don't know what I messed up because I can't see Umu out of bounds right now. So.
It is so annoying when when you think you get the one cycle, Umu's out of bounds, and then you just see Quirrell show up again and be like, Kasa, am I right? And you're like, no, you're wrong, please.
Yeah. Fun tip for anybody trying to learn that cycle, though, and this helped me a ton. Go into debug mod and zoom out a lot so you can actually see out of bounds. And then you can actually see what's, like, if you're not getting the one cycle, you can see what went wrong or what you're doing incorrectly. Big pro tip right there.
Yeah.
See Water
complete
here.
Amateur lore moment from Herm. I do like to think about the facts. Virgil and I were talking about this. Is that like Quirrell says "casa" like before he pops Umu open, and like that is the Spanish affirmative 2 command for hunt. And I just really like that as an idea. I don't think that's intentional at all, but I like the idea that Quirrell's commanding us to hunt Umu, like because affirmative 2 commands are basically you got this. But yeah, that's a good hunt from Water. Really solid one cycle, good setup and everything. And yeah, we'll see how this is from Edu.
He's not gonna get it. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Umu didn't get out of bounds by the last nail hit. Oh gosh.
That was not great.
This is huge for Water.
Yeah, this is a really, really big time makeup. This is 18 to 19 seconds.
With an extra
depending on
attack.
different
Oh,
things.
goodness.
Oh my gosh, and an extra. That
Oh,
is such a
no.
jinkies moment for Edu. Really unfortunate. I
That is
mean,
catastrophic.
easy 2-cycle, but still, I mean, the lead is going to significantly narrow after this. As Water beats up Monomon, Science is dead. Huzzah.
Yeah, and for how simple that one cycle can look when done well, there's an incredible amount of tiny nuance to very specific details of executing that one cycle that are kind of hard to notice at times. Like your spacing between your character and Umu is so incredibly important in that fight. I think whoever raced this morning that missed a one cycle, you know, it was something very small. Like they shot their third fireball.
Both runners did.
Yeah,
but,
I think it was zero.
yeah.
Like he shot his third fireball like a millisecond too early, and it didn't get the double. Like there's a lot going on there that is hard to tell when Umu's off screen.
All right. I mean, it's easy to watch these experienced runners nail it and think about how easy it is. Nice left side exit there.
Yeah, very well done.
But it is so difficult. It's so precise. I mean, even some runners who are newer but definitely have respectable PBs haven't even gone for one cycles or just don't learn one cycles for a while. Because of how difficult and precise it can be, and how annoying it is really to sit down and practice Umu, a fight that can just sometimes feel so out of your control.
Oh yeah, and I think we were talking about this like in the green room warming up, Herm, is that like you don't really know a run until you know all the ways that things can go wrong.
Yeah,
I think Umu,
exactly.
and Edu gets the C-dash glitch. Oh, you hate to see that.
That's so unfortunate. Oh
yeah,
no.
according to Rixian there, Water made up 22 seconds there, which is, I mean, it was starting to get away from him a little bit, but this puts him squarely back in contention for the race here. I mean, this is far from over. There's still a lot of difficult sections where things could go wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's big stuff, and especially, I mean, this great slash split, it's pure movement, pretty low RNG, definitely a fan favorite among runners.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, coming up, we've got the Howling Race Arena, which can just be annoying, and even though it's not necessarily a hard segment of the run, it's not really like, oh, I'm going to take a death. Oh, unfortunate.
Well,
for
that
Water.
was sniped.
Water has mentioned that it is a noted struggle of his, but also the race arena could just really get up hand. I mean, in the last race, we saw somebody lose about 30 seconds to the race arena, and that's not uncommon in the least.
Yeah.
So
the thing about race arena is that it's very consistent if you do it correctly. Like
exactly,
all the squits spawn in the exact same positions every single time. So if you have your choreography figured out and everything all good, you can do the arena really quick. But like the moment you make a mistake and things start to get off script, it just piles on. Like it really piles on the time lost there.
Right, exactly. And it's one of those things where if it gets out of control, it's going to stay out of control the whole time.
Yeah, it's very hard to find your center again after that.
Yeah. So that will be coming up, and then in addition, of course, we have Queen's Gardens into Dark Deepness. Plenty of room for error there. A mistake in a dark room. Well, not common for runners of these caliber. I mean, really, I think that one of the most impressive things to me for runners that are so practiced like this is just how well they know their dark rooms, because it is essentially muscle memory. And it's honestly one of those things where you honestly see far fewer deaths to dark rooms and such than you do to these boss fights, because of how much you have to think on your feet in those settings and how things can adjust. But Water did actually die in Darkness. I just now remembered this. Unfortunate for Edu that all the way back. Water did die in Darkness in his last race. And so it is somewhat important to remember that.
Well, and here's the thing too, as somebody that lost a race to hitting a spike in Dark Deepness earlier in this tournament, every single time, at least for me now, that I go through Dark Deepness, that's in the back of my mind. Like that is a mental thing that just stays with me, like, oh man, like it could happen, right? So
right, and especially in something that is so dependent on memorization, it's almost that underlying voice in your head that's telling you that what you've learned is wrong. That like because that's the thing is like the whole point of dark rooms is you're supposed to be incredibly consistent, get it right every time. But if you're learning it wrong, if you're making a mistake, then yeah, there's the underlying fear that that mistake is something that's ingrained. And so
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see how this race arena goes for Water. It looks like, Water made up another 10 seconds there.
Oh
so they're
my
only 20 seconds apart. So I'm sure Water's probably feeling the pressure. I believe his quote to me was like, "Oh, I don't really have too many struggle segments except the race arena. We don't talk about
We don't
that."
talk about that, yeah. Well, and
So-
I believe Water also told us, you know, I think he said, hey, I know my PB's a lot slower, but don't look at the PBs. Like, that doesn't tell the whole story.
Right, and he's totally keeping up with Edu right now, who has a low 53, and so that's pretty awesome. So far, things looking pretty good.
Super clean race arena.
That was awesome.
Incredibly clean. Yeah.
Water, I mean, that's gotta be at least close to a gold for Water, if not a gold.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That is super awesome. I mean, that's the thing is like you love to see it in race because honestly, with the Mantis Pogo Water had, with some of the other things he messed up early on, probably would have just reset this run, right? But I mean, look at this guy completely nailing a split he was absolutely worried about in race, and that just goes to show.
For mentality's sake, that's got to be huge for Water, you know, because like you just said, this is a section that he's really nervous about, and for him to nail it, like absolutely nail it in a race, he's got to feel good about himself right now, and he's going to be a lot more confident going through the rest of this run, I think.
Right, that confidence is very helpful in an area like Dark Deepness, and see, Edu is offbeat. Choreography is changing, and so it's unfortunate taking some damage here. And having to adjust, but gets through it just significantly less clean than Waters, which Waters, I mean, was a textbook arena. That was really awesome from him. Yeah, it does get that full soul. Sometimes runners choose to take a heal before picking up race, but obviously time loss, and when the race is this close, I mean, yeah, you're probably not interested. So Edu will take a heal after.
Especially if Edu isn't watching the race and doesn't know the pace, he might be thinking, man, I just had a 2-cycle Umu. The pressure's on, like, I need to play aggressive here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Water taking an unfortunate dunk there. It looks like Water only saved 3 seconds in that arena, which is interesting. So it may have just been general movement in and out of mound, as well as, like, other things going on. But yeah, Water will have to take some heals here, which is unfortunate. But yeah, the runners are only 16 seconds apart. That is very close.
I mean, that could change just like that. One dunk in the dark room and we're back to even.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see. Water's heading into Dark Deepness right now. We'll head down. We'll see if he elects to take a heal. 3 masks it's just sort of comfort dependent. 2 mask is less than comfort dependent.
Water.
Probably gonna want to heal here. Yeah.
Gonna heal all the way up.
We'll go around and use Cyclone to get even more soul. I mean, I suppose it's wise in the end. After his Darkness death, Water still might be feeling the pressure here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a lot. Let's not downplay how much time loss that was, though, in a race that's 16 seconds apart. Like, that was a lot of time.
That was 2 Cyclones on the enemies, and I think 2 heals, and oh, that's a dunk. That is very unfortunate.
No.
Resetting the room here.
That's the right decision. That's the right decision to reset
it absolutely is. Though I believe spike pits are still out and everything, so it doesn't seem like he got that far. I mean, thankfully, he had the option to reset the room by falling in the first room of Darkness, but yeah, this is a 3-room segment, and it is no joke.
That is utterly backbreaking, honestly. For what, you know, he's clawing back into this race. It's getting really close, and then to take that hurts.
Yeah.
Do we have a stream freeze here?
Just psychologically. I think that we do this maybe a sync.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We'll have to see. No, just a freeze. Unfortunate, but it looks like Water has continued through Darkness without taking any further damage, and should be good from here.
Yeah, and that really stinks for Water. I mean, because on top, I mean, he stopped to gather soul and heal twice, and that was a huge time loss. Then he gets dunked in the first room and has to reset it. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna be curious to see what the time difference is here after Hera.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate Darkness. And Edu, I mean, despite only having 2 masks at this point, is able to get through it cleanly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're just gonna have to see. Water's gonna do this kill on the Devout. Oh boy.
Okay, yeah, he went for the
little bit spooky, but
that's a planned damage tank. It's a fairly newer strategy. So what that does is you great slash the Devout, and then you can kill it with a D-Dark, which is a little bit slower. But what it does is it saves 3 hits of soul.
Oh yeah,
If you're
that's
only using one
exactly.
spell.
That's like almost exactly the right amount of damage. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, and yeah, it's like exactly the right amount of damage. And then on the way out of Beast Den, you already have one soul to kill the devout on the way out, which is a bit faster. So it's slower on the way in, but it makes up for itself on the way out. But the problem is, I think Water only has 2 hits of soul right now, so he doesn't have a spell anyway.
Oh, that's unfortunate. No, it's funny
Yeah.
to me because the only time I ever used mail arts casually was specifically to kill devouts with Great Slash. And so it's just like I was just like, wow, wait, it's my casual playthrough. But yeah,
Water got the devout back up there.
Yeah, unfortunate. And we're just gonna see. Yeah, it looks like they're 47 seconds apart now. Edu making up 30 seconds. Or extending his lead by 30 seconds.
Edu gets the cool dash slash kill there. That's a fairly new strategy, I think, discovered by Murray. It's a very, very precise lineup. I've tried to learn it, and it's consistent if you get the lineup, but it's very, very precise.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're gonna be heading out from DV Stag. Have the 250 Geo to buy it, no problem. And we're heading back to Hidden Station, where we're gonna go to the Abyss. We're using that King's brand. And yeah, I mean, we're just sort of going on from there. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just heading out. And I do have a knock-knock joke at the Abyss store.
Oh, I'm excited.
This is good.
Knock-knock jokes are quality.
This is actually from a friend of mine, so it's kind of quality. Yeah.
Are we doing it now? Are we waiting, or?
We wait for them to get to the door.
Okay. Well, there they are.
We got it. When the door opens, then we're here.
Gotcha.
Okay. Knock knock.
Who's there?
No voice to cry out suffering.
No voice to cry out suffering. Who? I appreciate that one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I really like how you just sit there in silence and like.
I gotta be honest. I was tempted to test you and be like, how long will she hold this up?
Like, yeah, the thing is, like, I would have held it up for a while. But yeah, credits to my good friend Bubba Roo for that joke. Please give me your knock knock jokes. Virgil and I are running very low. But yes, I do love that one.
Water taking a hit. Oh no!
Oh
Water,
boy!
please, just go, just go. They're all about. Oh,
Jinkies. Oh.
That is. That. I mean, I hate to be like. I don't know if hate is a strong word, but I always dislike when I'm watching like commentary, and the commentator's like, well, you know, anything could happen here. Like, I'm just gonna be the guy that ruins your day. Like, that's probably the race. Yeah,
no, that's like objectively, this is the race. I'm gonna be honest
right there, like
because at this point, like, it would be one thing if Edu hadn't finished Sibling Climb, but Edu has, and like, at this point,
I don't know.
Even like a terrible Abyss climb, like. It would take it would probably take multiple deaths to THK for it.
Yeah, it would take Edu like forgetting how to play the game and chain dying to THK like 30 times. That's about all I can imagine. I can't tell if that's a sync or what here, but.
Oh, yeah, I think this is I don't know what this is, because they typically don't sync unless we explicitly request. So I think it may have just been a freeze.
Yep, there we go.
But yeah, it is really unfortunate. Because in the end, like, a death to Sibling Climb, I always quote Quacksilver on this, is that, like, a death on Sibling Climb is something that happens when you lose momentum. Sibling Climb is based on momentum. If you start going, you keep going. And as we discussed earlier this race, Water kind of panicked on one mask.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of panic, honestly, because at the point Water was at, yes, you've taken 2 hits, but I mean,
you gotta keep going.
I hate to like I hate to Monday morning quarterback this, right? Because I'm not the one in that stressful situation. But at the point he was at in that climb, all of the siblings are behind you now. Like I understand it's easier said than done, but you can totally just like be like, okay, like stay calm. I know I've got the like black lines on the screen telling me I'm at 1 HP, but you can totally just dash through there and make it. But again, It's a race
And I
setting.
mean-
He's probably nervous. He knows how close the race is.
Yeah, absolutely. In the race setting, it is just so hard. It is so hard to tell. It's so hard to deal with. And Abyss Climb is like, that's the thing, is Abyss Climb is no joke. This is a seriously difficult segment of the run. It requires a lot of awareness that sibling drift is RNG.
Yeah. It
and
also
so,
sucks
yeah, I
finding
mean-
your own shade here.
Yeah, because your shade just gets mixed in.
Yeah, I know.
It's just another brick in the wall. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, you really can't blame. I mean, out of the places that you can die in this run, this is definitely
Yeah.
a pretty high up one of them. And so, even for a runner of Water's caliber, this is like an understandable death. We can.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I think that Rhino and I definitely agree on the reasons why it happened and things that could have gone better. But this is an understandable death for sure. And
Oh,
here's
yeah,
this
absolutely.
line from Edu.
And I want to be clear to viewers too. Like these are both two incredibly high runners, and we're being very nitpicky about certain things because they're both very good, and there really aren't many major things to point out. Like so.
Exactly.
I've got to point out something. It's got to be little nitpicky things, you know.
Right. If there were huge things to criticize, like we could do that, but there aren't. These runners are
Yeah.
very, very good.
Yeah.
At what they do, and like they put a ton of practice into it. And so, like, to both of you, I hope if you watch this back, like, y'all know that we're super impressed with what you're doing,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that everything we nitpick at, we mean in the kindest and most loving way possible, so y'all can be even better.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think as a service to the viewers too, it's it's our job to point these things out as well.
Right,
so
of course.
It's definitely not like meant to be a negative or personal thing.
Yes.
Either way,
No.
In the
ad
meantime,
hominem.
Edu had a pretty nice climb there that we kind of just glossed. I was watching it, but that's like the second time in comms that's happened where I just get so like into a person's climb, I forget to talk about it. Like I'm just watching intently.
just sort of hypnotized by the actual. I mean, Abyss Climb is, in my opinion, one of the coolest looking things in this run, just because it's just exceptional how these runners just show complete mastery of all the movement they've acquired. Just to get up there in such a cool way, and there's just very impressive things. But you're just gonna be heading into
again?
what?
What did you say?
5306. So
5306. This is totally PBable.
you think so?
I think so. It's tight.
yeah.
It's tight. It's very
I
tight.
mean, yeah, it's just gonna depend on THK RNG, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said 5306.
06.
Yeah, it's very tight, but possible for like a mini PB. I think here, if my math is correct.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to see. I mean, that's the thing is like you could get like
odd tier fight.
like 6 parries, or you could just get bullet hell attack and be like, okay, and have full soul, and just bam bam boom.
Yeah, bullet hell attack is fantastic to get.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna have to see. So
Water in the climb now.
I'm doing good so far.
Hey, who earlier asked what I find most stressful about comms? Here it is. Two completely different exciting things going on. It's hard to know which one to talk about.
No.
Water taking a fall. Meanwhile, Edu here, doing a good job staying close here. He's getting a lot of dash attack, which is definitely not what we want to see in this category.
But there's a good attack.
He's handling it really well, though.
Yeah, dealing with it best he can, which you love to see, because in the end it's all about trying to be adaptable. This is definitely not going to be a PB, but it will be a 53 for sure, which definitely you love to see. So you should be pretty happy with this, especially in a race setting where like
PB's dead now.
I mean, like missed like one cycle on Umu. Like this is pretty good for you to be close to PB.
THK's got to be like one hit. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So this will be
Well
a mid 53, low 53, and yeah, I mean definitely good work from Edu here.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be like 53. I think I said 53.26. It should be. I always like to inform people that from the moment you start absorbing THK to the timer stop is about 20 seconds. I don't know why I said 26. I meant 22. But yeah, it's about 20 seconds from the moment you start absorbing, which is why
there you go, perfect.
Which is why on stream on multiple occasions you have seen me getting really, really, really hype about a run when the timer's still running, just because I know it's 20 seconds from absorb.
Yeah.
So we'll see Water now head into this fight. I would have to imagine PB is also dead for Water after that death.
Yeah, PB is presumably dead. But I think it'll be relatively close.
Absolutely.
Simply by virtue of the fact that, like, I mean, his current PB is 55.42, so he'll like be respectably close, barring a death.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a respectable time with that the death he took in sibling.
Yeah, with the death to sibling climb.
Yeah. We talk about Crystallized Mound being like probably the worst place in the run to take a death, and if that's the case, then Sibling Climb is probably the second worst place in the run to take a death.
I'd put Green Path up there too. If you died a Hornet 1.
Oh, that's true.
That's awful. Like, that just hurts so much.
Yeah,
and just like psychologically.
Because at least like if you die in Crystallized Mound, you've already opened up the you have C-Dash and you've already opened up that one pathway after Crystal Heart. So we don't have to go through all of Crystal Peaks again. With Green Path, if you died a Hornet 1, you're literally just repeating the entire segment.
Right, and I mean, we actually saw in the last race from Zero, died in Crystallized Mound and made a full comeback because
that was insane.
Was able to just sort of handle it. And I mean, it was a time loss, but in the end,
Water.
this is a bit of a jinkies moment for Water. We'll elect to take the heal here, wise choice in my opinion.
Oh jeez.
Also unfortunate.
Water, please don't die. Oh my god. Whenever somebody shade dashes through a
do you even Sharp Shadow?
Yeah, no, I mean, I gotta say, never once in my entire life in speedrunning or my casual playthrough have I ever equipped Sharp Shadow.
That is so disappointing. It is the best charm in the game.
I don't know.
Sharp Shadow THK is awesome.
Water giving us all a mini heart attack here while fighting THK.
Yeah, Water really sort of advertising the charm Fury of the Fallen.
Without Fury.
Unfortunately was unable to get it at the beginning of this run, but will be a spokesman for it throughout this fight.
Well said, well said. And yeah, that should be a quick death. GG's, Water.
GG's. Yes,
I forgot
that was...
done.
Oh yeah, me too. I just realized that as Water started observing.
I also forgot to switch audio after Edu took the lead RTA too, so I'm a terrible commentator.
Wow. Unforgivable.
Unforgivable, yeah. I can't even believe myself. I just got so caught up in the hype. I can't believe I've done this either. But GG's to both runners. I've sent them both
GG's to both.
The invite.
Yeah, they'll have invites, and yeah, we'll ask them some questions about life, the universe, and everything once they get in here.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about Hollow Knight. Just going to be about stuff, you know.
Just about stuff. If you have questions in the chat, put them in the chat. That was a great sentence. It was very well crafted. But yeah, if you have questions, let us know, and we'll ask them.
That was, in fact, an English language sentence constructed with proper grammar and words.
It also made sense, I guess.
Yeah. And, feel free.
Okay, we'll drag them in here though.
Oh, we can do that? Well, to the island.
Yeah. Hi folks, GG.
Hello. Hey. GG.
GG's friends. Yeah, so first and foremost, congratulations to Edu. How are you feeling about your performance in this race and how things went?
Well, I mean, overall, it was a good run. For sure, I was 15 seconds from PB, but, like, there were a couple really bad places for me, like, early game and, kind of mid-game, like, Soul Sanctum, C Peaks didn't really go too well.
Yeah, and we
overall a good run, yeah.
We were commenting, you know, that you're the recent new holder of the dive Comsob, and you got really, really bullied that split by warping Soul Twister. Is just really unfortunate.
Yeah, I've grinded that split for enough that I know how much RNG can screw you, so right. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, definitely a common place where RNG can mess with runners there. And Water, GG's. How are you feeling about your race? You know, obviously, taking that death to sibling climb, definitely not what you wanted there, but aside from that, how are you feeling about everything?
I would have said that I'm happy to go out of the tournament like this, but after sibling climb, that's a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, definitely understandable. So, definitely.
I can explain what happened there since you were speculating. I heard that. So I was on 1 HP. I saw, oh, all the siblings are behind me. This is fine. I can just jump up, perform a wall jump, a dash to the right should send me up, no problem. Only problem is I didn't get the wall jump because I didn't jump high enough.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's really tough.
that's so unfortunate. Yeah, and again, I mean, sibling climb for viewers who don't know, that is an incredibly common place to die, and it's a very difficult place.
So
you know,
tough.
it's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I always like to see when a runner, you know, after something like that, finishes out the run. So definitely GG's on that. Herm, do you have anything?
Yeah,
Herm?
sorry, my headphones broke again. I'm really
Oh,
enjoying it.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Water, you talked about the whole Wraith split and how we don't talk about that, but I mean, how did you feel about your arena today?
It golded.
That's what we thought.
We figured, yeah, we
Let's
figured
go.
it golded. It
Oh,
looked
I'm
very,
so
very
happy
clean.
for you. Yeah, that was a really awesome arena.
Yeah, definitely went really well. One thing I always like to ask when I commentate is to both of the runners, did you have the race open and were you watching the commentary or checking your opponent's pace at all throughout the race?
I didn't have the stream open at all. I just went to do a run. And
Nice.
that's it. Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
Water,
was
how
in
about
chat
you?
from time to time, so
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't catch you, wow.
yeah. For
Um,
example, after Monomon split, I just kind of wrote sick or something. I don't even remember. It was a blur.
Yeah, and I mean, the follow-up question I always have then is, you know, because you were watching stream, did that affect any of your decision-making or how you played this race at all?
I lost. I was slightly nervous because you said I was nervous entering green path.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, no.
No.
Super hard comms curse. I feel terrible.
That is so sad.
Oh, no.
Wow, Rhino, look
Yeah.
what you did.
I know. I can't believe I've done this. Look what Water's doing right now, real quick. We can ignore
Okay,
that.
actually, no,
honestly.
that's so much worse than literally any commentator's curse. I would just say
I did say that if I lose, I will kill Milo.
you said that if you won, you would spare Milo. That didn't mean that you had to kill Milo if you lost. It wasn't required.
I think it's required.
That I do
that
not endorse
inherently
any
implies
variety of
the
violence.
opposite.
That's
It
true.
is highly unethical. I am going to make an entire tutorial called "How Not to Kill Milo" tutorial, in which you
Yeah.
will learn how not to do this.
And I think it was. Well, I think Edu, you had mentioned that you've been struggling with C peaks a lot lately. I think was that you who said that?
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how did you feel about your C peaks today? It looked fairly clean, no major mistakes, no real big issues.
Well, I don't know. I thought it didn't really go like too well. Like it could have been better. That's for sure.
Sure.
I made some smaller mistakes, but overall, didn't lose too much time. I guess like maybe 10-15 seconds. At most.
Yeah, we were definitely commentating that, you know, because that's been a problem area for you. To get out of there without any deaths or like run killers, probably a big sigh of relief after you finished that segment, huh?
Yeah, and also spike dunking in the dark room, that kind of made me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was kind of worried for you there, not gonna lie.
But yeah,
It was an incredibly close race all the way. I think
Yeah.
after Umu, what was the time difference? I think like
It
20
was
seconds.
I think we were down to 19 seconds.
Yeah, after Umu.
It was awesome. Like, truly a pleasure to commentate for both of you folks.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
it was a good thing that I didn't watch stream then, because that would have made me a lot more nervous.
Yeah, it's always fascinating. Like, I like asking runners, you know, because some runners like to watch because they'll make decisions like, okay, I'm really far ahead, so I'm gonna play a little safer. And other runners I know, like you do, just like, okay, I don't want to watch. I'm just gonna stay in my own little world and run my fastest, and that works really well for some people. So I'm always really interested in seeing how people play that in a race setting. But yeah, so Edu, I think, did you finish the tournament 3-2 now? Is that or?
He finished
4-1.
4-1. I finished 3-2.
Oh, he finished. Okay, so 4-1 Edu. So you're going on to the top 16 then with a 4-1, I believe. I think everybody with a 4-1
Yeah,
goes
for
on.
sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
guaranteed.
So
yeah.
first off, big congratulations to you. That's incredible. And I think Water. I think you'll be. I don't remember what the tiebreaker is for the 3 and 2 runners. I should probably
it's
know
strength
that.
of schedule, so how many sets your opponents win.
But there's
Gotcha.
also
I
tiebreaker.
think I
matchup.
got somewhat. I don't want to say lucky, but that's kind of what happened during my middle rounds. So I don't think my strength of schedule is going to be good enough to carry me to top 16.
Yeah, I think they are doing like a tiebreaker race or something though, but we'll have to see. I mean, again, I should probably know this more than anyone. Yeah,
As a 3 and 2 runner.
yeah, right. But Edu, as somebody guaranteed to seed in the top 16 now for the playoff bracket, what are some parts of your run that you're really going to be looking to clean up and work on going into the more difficult playoff bracket here?
We'll see peaks for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't have any like specific places where I have to practice. It's just overall getting more consistent at everything. I
Cool.
guess. I just have to do more runs and get consistent. That's it.
Yeah, and Water, in the event that you do have to do like a tiebreaker race or something, you know, same question to you. What are some areas that you're like, man, I really want to go back to practice and clean this section up or that section?
I'm not entirely sure. At this point, I'm like roughly equally good in all of the splits, except for maybe D-Dark, where I still don't do the dash only method for the dark room.
Mm-hmm.
So besides that, I'm not too sure. I just have to clean up my movement in general.
Yeah, absolutely. All skills is really that type of category, isn't it? Like just cleaning up 1 or 2 seconds
Yeah,
here
for
and there adds
It's
up.
like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't die and I didn't really get too bullied by any boss, but yeah, I have like 4 minutes of time saved to my son.
Yeah.
Like, that's so common in this category, just like
Yeah.
to be able to clean things up.
Yeah, so I mean, on that note, I don't have any more questions. How about you, Herm?
No, I'm all good unless you folks have any other shout outs or stuff. As always, massive thank you to SpeedGaming for organizing all this stuff, making it all run so smoothly, to Somni and Pisces for TDing this whole deal and making everything set up in that aspect. GG's to runners. Thank you to chat for being cute and a lovely audience. And always thank you to Rhino for being a wonderful co-commentator.
Thank you, Herm, for being wonderful to commentate with. It's always a pleasure. And to both Edu and Water, anything else in general that you two want to say? Anything you want to shout out before we hop off?
Shoutouts to Underline. Without him, I wouldn't even play the game.
Shoutouts to Underline, yeah.
Here you go.
Underline's great.
Like 4 months ago, I was not versed in Hollow Knight at all, and you know, today I almost got sub 55. That's
Oh, dude, you only been playing this game for like 4 months? Oh my god.
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy. That's insanity. Oh my god.
If you apply yourself to something, you can become a lot better than you think.
Absolutely. Yeah, so super well done then. And Edu, anybody you'd like to shout out or anything you want to say to all of our viewers before we hop off?
I guess. I don't know. I guess I'll just shout out my own channel. Like. Yeah. Eduboy25. I do Hollow Knight speedrunning, and I've also played a lot of Spelunky 2 now and speedrun it. Yeah. So if you're interested.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for our show today. I think we have one more race today, which will be on SpeedGaming 4 at 4 p.m. Eastern, and that'll be between Thunder and the Hollow MC, commentated by Kali and Sylvie. That's gonna be a great race and comms duo. That'll be fun. But yeah. For now, we're signing off. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and it was an absolute pleasure.
We'll see you on another episode of Hollow Knight All Skills. Goodbye, folks.